Massive update for XRP investors. The XRP ETF launch dates have been revealed. And during today's episode, we're going to show our listeners how in the month of November, we have several ETFs scheduled to go live on both the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, with companies like Bitwise, Grayscale, 21 Shares, Franklin Templeton, and several others launching spot XRP ETFs inside the United States. We're also going to be breaking down the XRP price chart and the key ranges and price targets that we're keeping an eye on, as a daily closure above $2.71 could send rocket ships into the XRP price chart. With all this bullish momentum being catalyzed towards the back end of 2025, we're going to break down how many of our favorite projects aren't in bear market territory, but instead are leaning into bullish momentum. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Evening Crypto, your favorite crypto news related channel. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button and subscribe, as you're going to get an update every single day, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I wanted to kick off today's episode by first of all just reminding our listeners, government shutdown is ending equals spot crypto ETF floodgates are opening. This is according to ETF Store President Nate Garassi. In the meantime, you can see the first 33 spot XRP ETF launch this week. And in particular, we are talking about the Canary Capital Spot ETF product, which is scheduled to go live on the NASDAQ starting November 13th. Now, there's going to be some major exchanges also adopting XRP ETFs. That would be the CBOE and the New York Stock Exchange, with Franklin Templeton scheduled to go live with their XRP product on November 18th on the CBOE. That'll be followed up by 21 Shares on the 20th, Bitwise on the 20th, and CoinShares on the 20th. Now, all three of these products will be going live on the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and the CBOE starting in the month of November. And to close out this very exciting month, we are going to see Grayscale go live on the New York Stock Exchange, as well as the Wisdom Tree XRP ETF starting on November 25th. And if you're sitting there wondering, why is this important for me as an XRP investor? With new demand comes massive price movement. And what many people are anticipating is several $1 billion moving from the sidelines into the crypto market, starting with projects like XRP. And with these ETFs officially being live inside the United States, that means the largest institutions on the planet now have a vehicle to get direct exposure to XRP in the USA.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Abs. There's no question about it. This is the moment we have been waiting for. Institutions, everybody will now have the easiest way to get access to XRP with these ETF launches coming this week. So we've been waiting a long time for this. They're finally lining up. Now, they're not all happening at once. They're going to come in at different phases. So we'll see how that drives, price action. So everybody needs to understand that it's not like all 18 at the same time, but it is driving in new money. And that's what we've been saying we want to see come into this space. And more importantly, it's now going to create a whole new world of awareness to institutions and everybody throughout the industry. Because don't forget now, these guys are going to start getting on the phone and calling up people and saying, hey, you're going to want to get exposure to this. So you have AI right now that's very, very hot, massively hot. Now you're going to have another whole new set, a launch of this XRP ETFs, which XRP, you could argue, has the largest crypto community in the world coming in there. And then you've got possibly stimulus checks, you've got Fed cut rates, you've got Clarity Act. There's so much positive stuff coming out. I'm very, very excited of how this, and here's the best part. Everybody was expecting for October and we got Downtober. Nobody right now is expecting November to be Uptember. And I think we may get a whole new month now coming up this time ahead.
And this was a brand new update that was put out by Coinbase institutional account. They said October sell-off wasn't the end of the cycle. It may have been the reset that was needed. And I showed our listeners earlier on the live stream, when you look at the October anomaly, that's what I was calling it on the XRP price chart. This wick came as low as $1.58 on the price chart, but it closed the daily candle above $2. And that's very important to note, because it goes to show there's a whole lot of people who want sub $2 XRP. Since that moment, it's been very unstable territory. And the reason for that is Bitcoin. What's great about that for crypto investors is that this weekend, Bitcoin went back and tested the 50-week moving average on Sunday, and it got a daily closure above it. Why is that relevant? If we had gotten a weekly closure below the 50-week moving average, that would be the first time in over a year that Bitcoin was in bear market territory. What's great, we avoided that. We're seeing bullish momentum today. And with the US government resolving this issue and stepping back into the office later this week, we could see some massive momentum, not just because of the XRP ETFs, but because momentum is back in the economy and crypto investors are set to benefit off of this digital asset revolution. But let's break down this brand new clip right here discussing the power and potential of XRP ETFs and why this is so important.
This is why the XRP ETF is such a big deal. Because here's how this plays out. The moment the SEC approves an XRP ETF, everything changes. Wall Street gets a green light to allocate. And if you think they're going to miss a chance to buy an asset built for global finance under $10, think again. That ETF demand will absorb supply at an insane pace. And unlike Bitcoin, XRP supply is actually shrinking through every transaction via the burn mechanism. XRP is designed to get more valuable with use. Now couple that with Ripple's RLUSD pushing more volume through the XRPL, and XRP's value engine becomes exponential. And Ripple's just getting started. Now here's the part few are talking about. Ripple didn't even need to build RLUSD. They were already solving cross-border payments using other stablecoins and XRP. But they realized something powerful. Owning the stablecoin layer means controlling the velocity of volume across the entire ledger. And volume harks power. Because if you're moving billions of dollars across a decentralized ledger, you decide the rules of engagement. You can optimize the flow, you can maximize efficiency, you can extract the most value, and deliver it to XRP holders through reduced supply and increased relevance. That's the game Ripple is playing.
And people have questioned, Johnny, is Ripple fully committed to the success of the XRP ledger? Those questions were answered during the Ripple Swell event, and I want to dispel some of the rumors that came out about the RLUSD stablecoin. Many people were upset about the idea that RLUSD is being primarily minted on Ethereum. But I've went on to explain the reason for that being over 80% of all DeFi in the crypto space takes place on the Ethereum network. That means when smart contracts are implemented, when stablecoins are minted, the majority of that is happening on Ethereum. By Ripple launching their own RLUSD stablecoin and being able to Trojan horse into the Ethereum network, they're now going to be able to bridge products and services over to the XRP ledger because they have this product that is available in both networks. Now, why would people choose XRP? Because that blockchain is cheaper, faster, better, and more transparent, quite frankly. And Ripple is going to be incentivized to drive people into the XRP ledger, just like they're doing with Hidden Road, just like they're doing with Medico, just like they're doing with Rail, and just like they're doing with G Treasury, as well as Evernorth launching the first XRP Treasury on the NASDAQ. But if you guys are bullish about an XRP ETF, smash that like button. If you're bearish, leave a comment underneath the video. Johnny, are you anticipating what I am, RLUSD benefiting XRP coupled with the ETF launch?
I mean, absolutely right. I actually love the word Trojan. That's literally how I'm thinking about it. They created this product. Hey, yeah, here, use this little thing over there. But eventually they're going to use it and draw everything back over here. The problem is we're in the beginning and people aren't seeing it. People aren't thinking like that. They don't understand that. But that's exactly right, Abs. Here's the way to think about it. Two things are going to happen. One, you're actually going to get more use on there, so more burn. Two, a portion of that is going to get driven over to XRP, or eventually it's easier once, in other words, you're going to create awareness for your own product, and then you're going to get a benefit of that coming. Nobody even is thinking about that right now. But so there's two massive benefits in growing this ecosystem, what they're calling RLUSD. For us, we understand it's just the beginning.
Completely agree, Johnny. And this isn't my opinion or your opinion. Paul Barron and Jake Claver also share this same opinion where because there's so many new products that are going to involve the XRP ledger just beginning right now, we're going to see a supply shock at some point. If you agree, leave a 1 underneath the video, guys. But let's hear what Jake Claver has to say. With these XRP ETFs going live, will it impact the price and how high will it go? Jake Claver answers those questions.
Again, I have a full theory on all this, how it gets to extremely high prices, but it's a bunch of catalysts that all kind of culminate for the perfect storm for that to happen. If it's just the ETFs, I think
let's do the bare minimum. Let's say we know ETFs are going to happen, and we're pretty much sure, we're 90% sure we're going to get a rate
on
cut.
the DTC. So I think a $10 to $13 XRP would be very reasonable. Maybe even $20 to $25 XRP.
End of year or by this time next?
End of year. If we get the ETFs launched this year, I think that you could see that amount of liquidity move in. I think that there's going to be other things that culminate that cause it to go much higher than that. Right. But if it was just the ETFs, I think that those price ranges make the most sense.
Well, Johnny, I've called it the stairway to heaven. And for me personally, the first major catalyst that we can check off that list would be the XRP ETFs going live and the billions of dollars flooding in. Now, that's a little bit of a caveat, but I do think as these products begin to hit the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and the CBOE, more clients are going to realize how impactful this technology is. People are going to say, this asset was 50 cents 12 months ago and it's 250 now. What's it going to be 12 months from now? Could it be a $10 asset? Could it be a $20 asset? I think those conversations are valid and worthy of being had, especially when you consider how optimistic Brad Garlinghouse has been with his commitment to the XRP ledger. Here's some brand new statements out of Ripple CEO.
Well, XRP, and I sometimes have to remind the world of this, but XRP is at the heart and soul of what Ripple is doing. We care deeply. We have called it our North Star. But at the end of the day, we want to do things that are good for the XRP ecosystem. We want to build trust in XRP. We want to build utility in XRP. And we want to build liquidity in XRP. And each of the acquisitions we do, in one way or another, we believe it will do those things. Now, it may not be, some people may look at it and be like, I don't really, scratch their head a little bit. Well, I promise you that we see in the three-dimensional game of chess, we see how we believe that's going to evolve. Sometimes we'll probably do things that are more obvious and some less obvious. That's okay with us.
And Johnny, what I think the real end game here is people needing the XRP token to have real world utility, right? Even with the ETFs, everybody's speculating on the success, they want exposure. But what Brad's company is doing, what Ripple is really developing, is use cases that enable XRP to be used for real world use cases. And so we're still before that very moment. We're in a speculative stage of this market, and we've been sharing that for a very long time. The majority of money can be made in speculation. And like everybody is telling you, it either feels like we're going into a bull market or we're going into a bear market. And for me personally, I'm leaning into that optimism. I see a lot of the signs that this could be a very bullish November. And I think you made a great point earlier in the episode. Every retail investor was predicting October and we went down. Now every retail investor is predicting a negative November. I anticipate we go up. And the reason is not because of sentiment. It is because of the catalyst that we've highlighted today with the XRP ETF scheduled to go live in less than 72 hours on the NASDAQ. This isn't happening in the future. This is happening right now.
Guys, we are going to do other things. There's three things you said. We want to build trust. We want to build liquidity. And we want to build utility on the XRP ledger. And oh, by the way, on XRP. And oh, by the way, we're going to do it. You're not going to see how we're going to do it. He's not a 10, but they're going to build it, Abs. That is what I'm talking about. That's why I sit here with the confidence. I don't care if it's $2. I don't even care if it's 50 cents. Because I know what they're doing in the background is going to pay dividends later. You got to really start being prepared, have a profit plan, guys, because things are going to start to move on us like we ain't seen before. You all know how we do it. We use Merlin. Click on the link below. You get a free 30-day trial. But then the best part is it's not what you make. It's what you keep. And you all know what we're doing. We're exiting then. Abs, I will be exiting some of my XRP in my Roth ITrust capital IRA. Well, why am I doing it in my Roth and not my personal one? Because Abs, any gains that I sell in this upcoming run in my Roth, you're going to be paying taxes on your non-IRA. I ain't going to be paying taxes on my Roth IRA. And that's what I love about iTrust Capital, guys. So make sure, look into it, click on the link below, make sure you use the promo code, and you can create a Roth IRA for yourself as well. And any gains you have in there, as long as you hold it for 5 years and you withdraw after 59.5, you're going to pay zero taxes on those gains. Can you imagine, Abs, what the price of XRP could be between now and 5 years from now? And that, can you imagine that all of that growth could potentially be tax-free, my friend?
And this is why we talk about the products, guys. So if you want to do exactly what we're doing, click on the link below, sign up for iTrust Capital, and make sure you use promo code GEC9 because you're going to get a $100 signing bonus that will not work against your principal. So we are doing everything we can to set our community up for success. And this is one of the products that we're using to do that. But with that being said, XRP products scheduled to go live in less than 72 hours. We also have the US government stepping back into their offices. That means the Clarity Act could be passed by the end of the month. With all these positive things yet to play out, I would stay optimistic, I would stay realistic, and I'd keep on watching Good Evening Crypto. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Good night.